Welcome to the channel, guys. It's Weedle, and today we're going to be taking an early look at the new holiday loot boxes coming to World of Tanks in just over a month away. Can you believe it's almost Christmas already? No, I can't. It just seems like yesterday. But let's see if there's going to be any new tanks that you might like, any new mechanics coming to the game, anything interesting to play, and will there be anything just extremely overpowered like a BZ-176 or a Skoda 56? Let's find out. And first up on the list today, we have the VZ-68 Scrawl for the Czechoslovakian light tank line. Yes, the Czechs are getting a premium tank, and this thing looks to be more visually like the Tier 9 than the Tier 8. But how does it compare to the Tier 8? Well, as you can see, a little less DPM, considerably more penetration at 182. It's almost, let's see, what else? More module damage, that'll be interesting. More damage per shot. Better view range, gun handling, actually just better gun handling in general. But it is quite a bit slower than the Blesk. You do get a little bit more armor, but at 20, I mean, is that really armor? I don't think so. What's going to be really interesting about this tank is when I was looking at it, it's got 50 millimeters of HE pin. Now, to put that as a comparison to the Blesk, which only has 37. So this thing could be quite nasty, depending if it goes into the game like this. So stay tuned, but this may make somebody squall a little bit when they get shot by it. Next up on the list, we're going to have the new Tier 8 Heavy, the Contradictor. Now, I actually featured this in the channel last week, went over all the new mechanics with the double barrel and everything, so check that video out. But in general, I think this is going to be a pretty good tank. It's got excellent frontal turret armor right here. 10 degrees frontal gun depression, good upper armor. Overall, going to be a pretty good tank. We're going to compare it with the Nurgle, which just came into the game, also a British heavy. Now, I think the big difference here is on the Contradictor, so you're not going to be able to put a rammer, most likely, on it, because it is a double barrel tank, but we'll see if they allow it, but I wouldn't count on it. But less DPM, good penetration on its standard rounds. Overall, better aim time, better gun dispersion. I think this thing will be a fairly reliable tank. 36 top speed. Honestly, not that bad for a Tier 8, especially once you put a turbo on this thing. Hull armor, 150, but still, remember, it is very angled, so it's going to be probably on par with the Nurgle. Very good turret armor. Overall, I think this will be a pretty good tank. We'll see when it comes to the game. It's also coming in with a Tier 10 that's going to be early next year. What is it going to be? The can opener is coming for the Tier 10 line. I think they've named the Tier 9. I have not seen what the new Tier 8 and that line's going to be, but overall, looks to be a pretty good ridgeline tank and will fit in well with the current hold down play. So if you look forward to this tank, let me know in the comments. But I think it's going to be a pretty solid addition to the tank to World Tanks. And for our first Tier 9 premium tank, we have the DZT-159. This thing's going to be quite the brawling medium, in my opinion. Very good frontal turret armor. It does appear like it has rockets on the back as well. So while this tank is going to be a little bit lacking on the mobility at 40 top speed, keep in mind those rockets are going to allow it to get into position very quickly. So with that 440 alpha, 260 millimeters of penetration on its standard round, it does look like it's going to have heat with 310. It's not ideal, but at Tier 9, to be honest, 310 is plenty. The only thing that may hold this thing back is the DPM does appear to be low, but like I said, this thing is going to absolutely excel at those close to mid-range fights where it can really just kind of use its armor to bully its opponent around. We'll see how this thing comes out. It's got 0.4 dispersion, so, it's going to be more for those aggressive players and an awful aim time of 2.78 seconds. But if you're blowing up close, most of those stats may not matter that much. But this would be interesting. It makes me wonder, are we getting a new Chinese medium line coming to the game that's going to have rockets? Wargaming does seem to be all about their little weird mechanics that they want to throw in on each tank, so maybe. All right, next up for your tank destroyer lovers, we have the XM57. Now, this seems like it's going to be very much like the XM66 in that it's got a turret here that rotates in front of the tank. This is going to be, I think, a little bit different than the XM66. You know, just looking at it, let's fix the hole here. Looks like you're going to have reasonable armor. You're looking at like 315 there. This is going to be angled. That's going to be difficult to pin. For higher pin tanks, there might be a little round that can sneak in here. Obviously a weaker lower plate, but you know, at 260 millimeters, 250, that's certainly not anything to scoff at. I think this thing is going to be a pretty brutal frontline opponent if it can get into the fight. And by if 24 top speed, oh my gosh, this thing's going to be a slug moving around the battlefield. But not all is bad about this thing. You know, with 2000 DPM, not exactly a monster, but 630 alpha, 270 millimeters penetration. This tank is going to be able to handle any opponent on the battlefield that it meets, especially at close range. And it does need to be at close range because we're looking at 3 seconds aim time and 0.43 dispersion. Yes, this thing is very much meant to be a frontline kind of assault style TD. It wants to get into that nitty gritty of that fight, especially just punish heavy tanks. I don't foresee anybody having a great amount of success on a consistent basis sniping with this tank at the moment. But you never know. There's always people that tries because it does have a triangle over its head. But no, this thing, I don't know. If you're like a T95 lover or something, I think you'll probably like this tank. It may be a little bit too slow and inflexible for my play style, but it doesn't mean that I won't appreciate taking it on the battlefield, especially with that 630 alpha. And I don't know. We'll see how this thing works out. This may be the most broken tank in the game. There's always seems to be that one tank that just seems to overperform. You know, the TS5, for instance, was one. Believe it or not, the Defender was like the first broken tank to enter the game. You had the IS-3A. At one point, it was just hard to imagine that thing never being considered overpowered. But at one point, that was the thought process. So will this be it? I don't know. But it doesn't look like it's going to be that bad of a tank. So we'll see. We'll see how it's received by the community as well once they get their hands on it. All right. Next tier 9 tank we have is the Toro, an Italian heavy tank. And I think this one might be a bit of a stinker, but it's kind of hard to tell. I mean, you got this massive cupola on top. Visually, yeah, it's not going to be very good from the front. When you side scrape, you're going to have a weird angle here. I don't know. I think this one would be kind of considered a dud, but you never know. It's not going to have an amazing DPM. Looks like it's going to have a autoloader mechanic. Starting with the empty, yeah. So it's going to be an autoloader. It's going to be able to throw out a lot of damage pretty quickly. 4-second magazine, 3-second interclip, 360 alpha. I'm not really feeling this one, to be honest, especially with the rear mounted turret. It's not going to be able to really hold down very well. It doesn't look like it's going to be side scraping very well. Yeah, I don't know. 0.34 dispersion honestly is pretty good for a heavy tank, so yeah, we'll see. But this one, I don't know. I think I could live without it right now unless it just really surprises me. But hey, let me know if you're excited about having another Italian heavy tank with poor DPM in the game. Okay, so next up, this is Tank's not on Tank's GG yet, so I can only draw a few references by the numbers on the tank. It looks like a Su-100I, tier 5 Russian TD. My best guess is this will have pretty thin armor and probably a 100mm gun, because it just seems how the Russians name their tanks is kind of after the gun. Oh, we'll see. If it's got 100mm on it, you're probably looking at pretty high alpha for a tier 5 tank. This could be a pretty nasty little opponent to meet on the battlefield, especially at tier 5. I would say it's going to have pretty good gun to penetration and relatively poor accuracy. So we'll see. But this might be, like I said, a nasty little opponent to come across if you're in like a tier 5 or, gosh forbid, a tier 4 tank. So we'll see. But this does look like to be the first of the fillers. Next up for the filler tanks, we have the Type 1 Oni 2. Honestly, when I first saw the first picture of this, I was like, oh no, not another tier 4 artillery. But yeah, looks looks like just another old paper TD with a little derp cannon of some kind on it. Just for a tier 4 filler premium. Some people really like these tanks. I don't know. We'll see. It looks like it's got a little mini howitzer on it. Kind of tells me it's probably going to have kind of an HE derp with a bit of a slow shell would be my best guess, and no armor. But yeah, it could be like a little fun. Some of these little filler tanks are actually quite fun to play. We'll see if this one makes the list. Tell me, what was your first thought when you saw this? Did you think Artie? I certainly did. Okay, so next up we have the PZ Kampfpanzer something FW38K. Another tier 5 filler tank. Here's the thing. They come out with like a new German, medium tank or some every single year. It's kind of all named the same. They all kind of seem to play the same to me. Out of all these like little tier 5 German premiums, I can't even tell them apart. They all look the same. So take it or leave it. If you're a German tank lover, yeah, you may enjoy it. We'll see. Like, a lot of times these aren't really that bad, but they usually have like a poor penetration gun on them. This looks like it'd be like a 75 millimeter. We'll see. Could be decent. May not be. Just another German medium for tier 5. Okay, next up on the list, we have the M3A3 Stuart, a tier 3 light tank. I know there's a lot of Stuart lovers out there, and so you're going to get to play this thing at tier 3. Again, probably looking a lot like the other Stuarts. Really fast gun, low alpha damage. You can see it's got a little bitty gun on it. Could be fun. There's, like I said, I always find it fun to kind of play these tanks once or twice at least, and the rest of the time there seem to be a garage ornament for me. But I do see people take them out on the battlefield pretty often, or sometimes, especially when I'm watching some of the other streams. But yeah, never say no to a new Stuart tank entering the game. And the French get a filler tank. We have the new AMR P103. That's a bit of a mouthful to get out. Again, looks like another filler tank with probably like a little machine gun or a pom-pom of some kind on it. Could be a little interesting for a little tier 2 tank. We'll see. I always play these a couple of times, but hopefully you get a lot of these in the loot boxes if you're looking for gold. That's pretty much what they are kind of for, just filler. Okay, something to maybe get excited about. The Convert Medium Tank T3E2. Here's the thing. Tell me, does this look like an autocannon of some kind? I think it is. I think maybe the Americans are getting autocannons for mediums, maybe. But look at this. Like, it's got 3 guns on it. 1, 2, 3. I don't know. What is this thing gonna do? I don't know. This could be a lot of fun to play. I don't know. I don't know what to think about this. I really don't. God, no, there's another one right there. It's got 4 machine guns on it. It makes, I'm sure only one of them's going to be operable, you would think. But you never know. Maybe this is going to be a new mechanic coming into the game. It's coming in at tier 3, so I'm pretty sure it's just going to be the front one here. But I don't know. This gives me... actually, this is a medium tank. It says medium tank right here, but it's under a light tank. I don't know. We'll see. It's going to be for tier 3. Maybe a new... the Americans are getting autocannons or machine guns that are going to go up, kind of like the Squill or the Tesseract line. I don't know. But I am kind of excited to see this. All right. So last, we have Gabler's Destroyer, tier 5, British Reward light tank. So remember, this is not a premium tank, this is a reward tank. So this is my theory on this one. It's going to be the well-earned reward. If you like tracked vehicles or wheeled vehicles, well, they combined both of them. You have a wheeled tracked vehicle. I have no idea how this thing's going to work. But what we can get is got relatively low DPM at 1100. Does have a 4-round magazine with the 3-second inner clip reload. I don't know. My best, this thing is going to be quite fast. It does have excellent horsepower, extremely good power to weight ratio. This thing could be kind of quite fun to play at tier 5. It's probably going to need a lot of premium spam since you only got 95 penetration, but that's not the worst that you can have at tier 5. Yeah, I'll take it. I'll take any kind of reward they want to give me. It's not going to have any armor whatsoever, so pretty much an auto pin if you shoot this thing. But that being said, that's an if, because at 65 kilometers an hour with that power to weight ratio, this thing's going to be zipping across the battlefield. So look for this for your well-earned reward. Hopefully you can get out, played a few games before it just becomes a garage ornament. That's it for this one, guys. If you want to see more content like this, don't forget to like and subscribe. And like I said, almost up to 800 subscribers, and I appreciate it. Thank you, guys.